So just recapping a little bit and uh, sharing a little bit about what we're going to do today. So far, we've read up to 20 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. And for those who haven't been for the previous sessions, the Bhagavad Gita so far in these first 20 verses have just been setting the scene. It's been exploring the fact that Arjuna and Krishna are on the battlefield, and there is a war about to take place. And I've explained in previous sessions that this war is on multiple levels. We can treat it as historical truth, we can treat it as spiritual truth, inner and outer. So we're all facing this. I've also explained that the first chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So it's all about Arjuna's despondency, Arjuna's suffering. Arjuna is facing a real predicament, like we all face in our lives from time to time when we face real difficulty. And so that is why for thousands of years the Bhagavad Gita has been a text for people to explore on an inner level, as well as connecting with God, connecting with divinity on that level. So, it's a very profound text, and we'll be carrying on from verse 20. We also, if I just read verse 20, it said, "Then Arjuna, the son of Pandu, whose flag is marked with the emblem of Hanuman, seeing the sons of Dhritarashtra prepared for battle, took up his bow, and the clash of arms was about to commence." So that verse there was very beautiful, and we almost spent an entire session just exploring Hanuman and Yudhishthira. You can see the video on YouTube if you did miss those previous sessions, but it was really Hanuman as an exemplar of truth, as somebody that we can follow and embody that principle of compassion for all living beings. Hanuman only exists to serve Ram. He wants to feed those who are struggling. He wants to support Ram's expedition to rescue Sita from Ravan. He wants to heal Lakshman when he's sick. So he will do anything to help. He's always asking that question, how can I help? So we go on now. Arjuna spoke the following words to Rishikesha, Krishna. "O Lord of the earth, place my chariot between those two armies, that I might see those who desire to fight and with whom I must engage in this enterprise of war." So this verse is quite interesting. Arjuna is requesting Krishna to place the chariot in the middle of the war battlefield. This would never be done, right? Like, why would he place his chariot in the middle of the battlefield? And I kind of think it has a greatly spiritual significance, in the sense that we have the goodness and we have the badness, or we have the yin and the yang, and then right in the middle there you have Arjuna with his chariot, and Krishna, the Nara Narayana, the Atman and Brahman, right in the center of that battlefield of life. It's so beautiful. Place me in the middle of the battlefield. And some of the signs here. So Arjuna spoke the following words to Rishikesha, he says in verse 21. So Rishikesha kind of literally means the Rishi of the Kesha, the Rishi of the senses. So the master of the senses. He addresses Krishna as master of the senses. So one who has mastered the senses has gone beyond that divinity. Then secondly, he addresses Krishna as Lord of the earth, one who is firm and who does not yield to passions. So it's really describing the nature of divinity, nature of Krishna, nature of the divine, in that way, that which is beyond our senses. So we are going to move quite quickly today. In the previous sessions, we have taken our time and really got to verse 20. But today we're going to move fast, and hopefully we can get to the end of the first chapter. To give you an idea of how we've been exploring these verses so far, Shankaracharya, the great Acharya of Advaita, his commentary starts from chapter 2, verse 11. So we really have been taking it easy, really exploring the verses of chapter 1, which I think are really profound, because if I was to give this session a name, it would be suffering brings me closer to God. It's the yoga of despondency, the yoga of suffering, the yoga of heartache, the yoga of pain. And how do we look at suffering in our own lives as a way and mean to achieve a sense of spiritual foundation? And so before I continue on that, I have another book on my desk. I'm sharing books every week with people that I've found quite profound and interesting. And this week I'll share an old tattered copy that I have. The pages have all ripped, but it's called Ram Dass, Grist for the Mill. And it was produced in, let me say, 1976. And so there's a beautiful image of Maharaji Neem Karoli Baba in the text. There we go. And it says under the image, Maharaji, the mother, the father, the father, the mother, the son, on that image. And there's a beautiful dedication actually that I'll probably read in this book at the beginning. It's completely tattered. I could probably do with a new copy. But it says, the Dharma belongs to nobody. Teachings about the Dharma come now through one person and now through another. What is contained in this book certainly did not originate with me. It is part of a river which flows through me, through Guru, through teachers, parents, past incarnations, and life experiences. As I read this manuscript, I can feel in the turn of a phrase or an image the intimate presence of my Guru and one or another of my teachers. Their very real contributions to this book are warmly and gratefully acknowledged. May this book serve as an expression of appreciation for their teachings. So he's really giving homage to the teachers, to the gurus, to the past incarnations and the great ones who have come before him, and really allowing the teachings of the text to be a platform of service for him to live and act in the world. It's very profound, very beautiful. And I think when I spoke about Ram Dass's words when he was teaching the Bhagavad Gita, where he said, I do not have to teach the Gita. The Gita will teach itself, for the Gita is Krishna. And in that way, in the same spirit here, we're trying to share something about our exploration of the Gita together, so that others can also join us in that journey and also start that inner journey, that journey within to explore the Gita. So moving on to the next verses. Okay, so we're on verse 23 of chapter 1. I wish to see those who have assembled here, desiring to satisfy the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra in battle. By the son of Dhritarashtra, he obviously means Duryodhan. O Dhritarashtra, Arjuna, conqueror of sleep, thus spoke to Krishna, who placed the finest of chariots between the two armies. Here you can see in the verse, in the Sanskrit, Arjuna is called Gudakesha, conqueror of sleep. And this is in contrast to Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhan, the king, who is considered blind. So you have another thought there to consider, that Dhritarashtra is blind and Arjuna is the conqueror of sleep. So he translates that. The metaphor suggests that Arjuna is spiritually awake, whereas Dhritarashtra lives in a spiritual darkness. This is the words of Shukavak from his Gita that he explains there, which I really think is something to consider there. Krishna then spoke as follows before Bhishma and Drona and all of the chiefs of the earth. So here in verse 25, we have the first words of Krishna. This is the first words of Krishna coming into the Bhagavad Gita. We're in chapter 1, verse 25. And he says, O Partha, behold the assembled Kurus. So it's very simple words. O Partha, behold the assembled Kurus, ready for battle, ready to fight, ready to struggle against you. This is really special because I think people will just gloss over it. But he says, "Oh Partha, oh brother." It's love. He's addressing him lovingly. "Oh brother, oh friend, oh beloved." Behold all of these people addressed here. And if we want to take something from Krishna there or look at that example, he's speaking with love. He's addressing Arjuna with love. Immediately, the first words of the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna are about love. For me, they're about connection. And if the Gita means anything at all, it's about that connection to divinity. It's about that connection to each other and expanding that so we feel happiness within our own hearts. And I feel if Krishna's first words in the Gita are of kindness, then our first words to each other should be also of kindness. How are you? I hope you're well. Sending you love, sending you good thoughts, sending you goodwill, sending you love, sending you unconditional love. So that's a very beautiful thing. And Krishna will reference Arjuna as Partha 38 times in the Bhagavad Gita. So he's really addressing him with that love. The second word for Arjuna that he'll reference is Kaunteya, which has been addressed 24 times. But the word Partha really expresses intimacy. Let's really be here together. Let's be here now. Let's really give our hearts and open our hearts to what we want to achieve with each other. How many times do we see an old friend and just say, "Hi, how are you?" instead of giving them a big hug and really making them feel loved and present? The whole part that Krishna says to Arjuna is so intimate. There's so much love, so much compassion for him. So it really expresses that. And as we will go through the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna uses this phrase, "Oh Partha," he really is trying to express that intimacy and share something really important with Arjuna throughout the text. So that's something in the Gita that we'll get. Verse 28. Overcome with profound compassion and lamentation, Arjuna spoke the following words. "O Krishna, seeing my kinsman stand before me, desiring to fight, the limbs of my body sink down in despair, and my mouth dries up, my body trembles, my hair bristles on end. My bow Gandiva slips from my hand, and my skin is burning. My mind is reeling, and I'm unable to stand. O Krishna, killer of Keshi, I see only evil omens. I see no good in killing my kinsman in battle." Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Keshava, the killer of the demon Kesi. And indirectly, Arjuna is asking Krishna to kill his demons of doubt. He's intentional here, really, in this thing. But if we look at Arjuna's behavior there, he's sweating, he's feeling sad, he's feeling depressed, he doesn't want to fight, he's down, his hands are drooping, his posture is bad, his weapon is falling out of his hands, he's giving up. He feels so sad, he's in that sadness. And Maharaji said, suffering brings us closer to God. So here we can see Arjuna is really suffering. He's going through a difficult time, he's, like we all do in life. And many of us will. And sometimes we need that. To really open ourselves up and realize that there is a divine purpose to our life. There is a purpose of Dharma here in our lives. And many of us will go through that difficult time or that trauma or that challenge, which makes us realize that there is something greater. I mean, I pray and wish that nobody has to go through that. But often it is those moments in life that open us towards seeking something greater and deeper in our own lives. So that is something that Arjuna is going through here in the Gita with us right now. And so he says, I see only evil omens. I see no good in killing my kinsman in battle. O Krishna, Govinda. The first time he uses the word Govinda. Govinda means one who gives pleasure. and calms the senses. O Krishna, O Govinda, I desire no victory. I desire no kingdom. I desire no happiness. What use is a kingdom or enjoyments, or even life itself, when teachers, fathers, sons, as well as grandfathers, uncles, father-in-laws, grandsons, brother-in-laws, are all kinsmen, are prepared to sacrifice their life and wealth in battle. O Madhusudana. He uses the word here, killer of the demon Madhu. Madhusudana. I have a friend with this name. Though they are prepared to kill me, I do not desire to kill them, even for dominion over the three worlds. What to speak of just this earth? O Janardana. Another name for Krishna is Janardana, which also Arjuna is referenced to. What joy could we find in killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Only evil can befall us in killing such aggressors. Therefore, we should not kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, who are our kinsmen, O Madhava. How can there be any happiness in killing one's family? Notice that he uses so many different names to address Krishna, and many of them are spiritual in purpose. Some means reliever of suffering. Some mean, calmer of the minds, one who makes one feel happy. Here he uses the word Madhava, which is husband of the goddess of fortune. How can there be happiness in killing one's family? Even if those whose hearts are overtaken by greed do not see the evil in destroying the family or crime of treachery against a friend, how can we, O Janardana, who can see this wrong, not turn away from this evil? When the family is destroyed, the ancient and sacred traditions are destroyed. And when the sacred traditions are destroyed, adharma will certainly overtake the entire family in the whole world. O Krishna, descendant of Vrishni, when adharma prevails, all of the family becomes spoiled. And when everybody becomes spoiled, then unwanted populations will arise. Unwanted populations will lead to suffering for all of us and destroy the family and life itself. When all of our offerings, our sacred practices will all be interrupted, then all will suffer. Our ancestors will fall. Those who destroy the family and create unwanted populations destroy both the laws of society and the dharma and the ancient family traditions. O Janardana, those whose family traditions have been destroyed certainly dwell in unhappy places. This is what we have heard. Alas, how sad it is that we are determined to commit such great evil. We are prepared to kill our own family out of greed for our royal happiness. It would be better that the sons of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and all of the Kauravas, weapons in hand, should kill me, unresisting and without weapons in battle. Speaking in this way, Arjuna, with his mind overcome with grief, sank down on the seat of his chariot. In the midst of both the armies, he dropped his bow and arrows onto the floor. Now, Arjuna is really giving Krishna a great preaching of non-violence, some would say. He's saying, Krishna, we shouldn't fight. We shouldn't do this. And we are also proponents at Go Dharmic, and myself and my own philosophy, we're proponents of non-violence. In fact, Gandhi also considered the Gita the greatest guide to his life. But here Arjuna, yes, he's speaking what seems to be high-minded philosophy. He's speaking non-violence. We shouldn't fight this war. But he's won many battles in the past. Arjuna is a warrior. He's fought many wars in the past. But here, he's fallen into a state of despondency because he has to fight against people he knows and loves. And what we need to go back to and consider here is the Bhagavad Gita is addressing a great dilemma that for many years Krishna and the Pandavas have tried the peaceful way. In fact, even Krishna went to Duryodhana himself and said, do not fight. Give them a tiny piece of land and let them live on this small land, and we'll all live happily here. But Duryodhana says, I won't give them the land even as small as the pin of a needle. I won't give them any land. I won't give them any chance to live. I just want to kill them. And many times Duryodhana is so wicked, he tried to kill the Pandavas. He tried to burn them alive. Draupadi was disrobed in front of a whole room full of people by the Kauravas. They were so evil, they were so wicked, and they only wanted the Pandavas to be destroyed. And it came to that moment, that almost inconceivable moment, where only war was possible. They were only going to be killed, and nothing else was possible. So that was really the consideration in the moment that we find ourselves in. But it's at that moment that Arjuna is falling down. He just doesn't want to do it. He just doesn't want to face the difficult challenges. He's saying, let's go. Let's leave. Let's go to the forest. And I often see this. Sometimes I've been working with people, and they might be working, say, in a difficult job. And instead of facing the challenges of that workplace or that job or that situation, they think, let's retreat. Let's go do a master's, study something different, or let's go and go on a 6-month holiday or a retreat and get away from the workplace. Academia is often a modern forest, I find, for people to escape the challenges of life and sit in a library and debate high-minded philosophy or explore some text, but which is wonderful, but not out of a reaction to a situation where you may have a difficult challenge that you don't want to face. And I think Arjuna here, a lot of his high-minded philosophy is actually him trying to convince himself that he shouldn't be in this situation, or he shouldn't fight, because he's actually battled these people before and won. He's been there in the Mahabharata. He's fought the war, and Krishna knows, the all-knowing Krishna knows this. He realizes that, and he understands that. So I think that's something that we should, before taking Arjuna's words firsthand, kind of understand the situation here, that he's trying to get out of this. He doesn't like it. He doesn't feel what we should do. And we've sped along to the end of the chapter there, of chapter 1. And then, as I said, the last verse of chapter 1, speaking in this way, his mind overcome with grief, Arjuna sank down on the seat of his chariot in the midst of both arrows. He cast aside his bow and arrows. And those were the last words of the first chapter. And I think it's at that point where now we have to think about what Krishna will respond. How will Krishna respond to Arjuna's predicament of suffering? And Maharaji Neem Karoli Baba said, suffering is grace. He said, I love suffering. It brings me closer to God. Now, me, from a personal perspective, I think that's such a difficult thing to grasp, that us working with suffering can actually bring us closer to God, both personal and within the community, and seeing other people suffering and working closely with them to see the divinity in their hearts and to help them to get through that, or to use it as an offering. So I believe Krishna explores, in response to Arjuna's predicament now, the spiritual view of how one can live in the life that we have in the face of suffering, how we can explore that suffering and see it and be present with it, accept it, love it, and then offer our actions back to God. I think it's very beautiful. It's something that I just kept aside that Ram Dass wrote in Grist for the Mill. Keep in mind the entire clock is the realm of illusion or relative reality. The entire clock is the realm of illusion or relative reality. At 12 o'clock, you never were. Nothing has happened. To answer the question of why did it all begin, one of the answers is it never did. It's just a play of a mind. People who have come this far in the transmission are everywhere between 1 minute past 6 and 11:59. And because of the nature of your attachments, you can only see what you can see. You can only see what you can see. And I think that's Arjuna right now. That's Arjuna is only seeing his view based on his emotions, based on the suffering that he's feeling within his heart. He's not seeing the whole view. The whole spiritual outlook is that it's all God. It's all Krishna. It's all Ram. It's all the Buddha and the whole field. And from that spiritual view, there is no anxiety. Often you'll see Krishna, an image of Krishna, if you see, he's always smiling. He's always has this slight smile in all activities, in all work. And this is where we're really going, that Arjuna is in that stressful state, is in that anxious state, is in that suffering state, is in that overwhelmed state. But the state of divinity, spirituality is beyond that. It's the happy state that, okay, things are difficult. How are we going to live from the heart? How are we going to have that compassion and love for all living beings and just keep offering it back and living from that space? And for me, that's what Neem Karoli Baba represents. He represents love, unconditional love. He's in that higher realm of understanding that we all have within us. But like here it says here, Arjuna has a busy mind. His mind is out of control. But the state of yoga is yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the still mind, the calm mind, the peaceful mind. So it's the opposite of Arjuna's current state. And the spiritual teachings that we will explore now, really coming into chapter 2 when we start in the next session, will be, what do we need? How do we get there? So this last month, we've really just been laying the field for the spiritual space for us to continue.